Oh my gosh, I'm so loud. I had to turn myself down. Hello, 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 hello. I have had quite the interesting couple weeks. That was last on. I guess I have time to talk about it. I'm gonna start saying this first. I'm not promising that this is gonna be an ongoing thing. Because whenever I do that, I tend to forget and I tend to not do it as often as I would like. But I figured that because this is kind of a new thing, because I have it and I'm still trying to get used to it, I figured I would try to figure out if I could stream as well. These streams will probably end up being a little longer, which is fine. So I need to, before I exit that out, I need to. You'd think I would have gotten everything already, but with streaming and all, I need to figure out what audio inputs I have here. I have that. Now, if I was to play some music. Okay, good. You guys can hear it. Because this is what's going to help me. I'm going to put on some focus music. But I can't do that on YouTube because I don't want to get copyright striked. So I have Spotify opened for that. You might hear my dog. Okay, so you guys can't hear that from my understanding. Perfect. Couple things to get into before I get into the stream. This is gonna take some time to get used to. I don't have it projected up to my main monitor, which is my TV, because for some reason the HDMI port, like one of the HDMI ports on my computer that I just literally got like a few months ago, decided to shit out on me. So I don't know. I think that one has always been like, I think that was dead on arrival. So that's kind of shitty. So next time I'll probably end up having my old computer, which is not old. It's just I just haven't used it since I got the new one. I'll have my old computer up and running so then I can do what I need to do and not have to worry about it. But now I got two different setups that I'm gonna have to think about because I'm using this computer that I'm on right now for my video gaming stuff, like for creating video games and stuff like that. So, um, yeah. And then also, like, you might hear some tapping on the screen, uh, on the like near the mic. That's me using the pen, and I'm just checking my pen nib right now. They gave me some pen nibs. I think I should explain. I can't show you, but I think I can explain them to you. I got so a little bit of backstory on this whole entire thing was I got the XP pen. I think it's like the XP pen Artist 19 Pro Gen 2, and that's what I got. And I wasn't gonna get it because of how expensive it was, and I ended up getting it because of the lightning deal on Amazon. So I got it for a cheaper price. Still pretty expensive if you want to sink your teeth into, what it is. But this replicates my whole setup basically. And so what it is it's like a tablet, but you have a pen, like a stylus sort of, and the pens are not battery operated, which is great. However, there is a USB port in here. I wonder if that's for the drivers, maybe? I think that's probably because of that. I didn't have to install any drivers for the pen, so maybe that's what that is all about. But, I don't know, because there's some weird stuff going on. So maybe if it's, like, not connecting or something, there's, like, a connection to it or whatever. I don't know, but, it's a nice monitor. It's, I wish that I got the stand with it because the stand would have been a little bit nicer. My neck is kind of hurting from constantly looking down, but I was able to make some stuff. I'm going to show you what I did last night, and I don't know if I'm going to work on that because I was just kind of like fucking around sort of last night trying to figure out. It took me forever to set this up. It took me absolutely forever to set this up because, like I said, I could not for life me figure out how to get it together. And it turns out that I just had a bad HDMI port. So if you have a bad HDMI port, you might want to get that looked at. So, but with all that out of the way, I think that's most of the things that I have to talk about as far as starting goes. I'm gonna go ahead. I had to like relearn how to use my computer pretty much because this is very different than using a mouse. I still do use a mouse. Sometimes you'll hear me clicking. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. I forgot this is where I left off, so I'm gonna use my mouse real fast. This is what I did yesterday. I'm gonna be honest with you. I cheated a little bit. Let's see. Clear. Oops. Wait, maybe this one. Maybe that. Maybe that's what I need. Clear. Oops. That's not what I need. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna open that again. You guys can't see. Okay, no. Okay, good. Here's a better photo of it. Yeah, so you can tell this one it was after I was done with it. I kind of added some effects and stuff. Funny note, this is Dr. Rhonda Butterson. I created Dr. Rhonda Butterson by using FaceApp. And what I did was FaceApp had a bunch of things you can do. You you could basically mold yourself into whatever you wanted to mold yourself into. And yes, technically it's AI to an extent. However, this is different enough to where it's not AI. But what I'm doing is like what I did was I essentially morphed my face a bunch of times, and marked it with like Paula Deen and a little bit of like, whatever, pretty much just a little bit of everything, and I just made myself like as fat as possible. And I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really fucking funny because uh, no, no, I don't want to save you. I want you to be moved over there. There we go. That's what I want. So, and so I ended up making like multiple different versions of this. This is my mascot. This is going to be my mascot for my business that I'm making. So I'm trying to get rid of the AI aspects as much as possible, which this is basically, I've done enough in this picture alone to say it's mine. And so I was really happy about that. As you can see here, there's a lot of things here. I'm gonna just kind of go over it with you, like the face and stuff. I made the face look less scary. It is very blurry, and I think I need to work on how blurry things get. But I was kind of going for that painted look, so the blurriness kind of is more like I just blended a bunch of things together, and that's what happened. She does kind of look like Paula Deen a little bit, and that was sort of the inspiration. Because what people don't understand is that oops, what happened to my image? Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Little jump scare there. What happened was I was sitting there, and of course, like, I'm a weird person, but I was sitting there on the couch one day, and I was binging a bunch of Hoarders, and they like the therapists and stuff would like introduce himself as, "Hey, I'm so and so, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist who specializes in hoarding behaviors," you know. And so for some reason, my brain just kind of clicked on that, and I started like repeating it, and then like I started putting out that southern accent, and oh, hey y'all, my name is Dr. Rhoda Butterson. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist who specializes in them good hoarding behaviors. I was just kind of remixing it, and it became a meme at work. It just became like a thing. And then I started making coffee mugs, and I started doing a bunch of other things. And, it just became a thing. And it honestly, one of the funniest things ever. You know, I didn't think I could create something like this. Um, this is the less scary version. I know her eyes look like she's been possessed, but this is the less scary version of it. But I'm just kind of, I thought, okay, well, that's an easy image to do because it's basically just layering over the image. Um, what's harder for me so far has been trying not to press too hard on the screen because that's what wears down the pen nib a lot more. And so I'm trying, like, I get so worried that I'm gonna wear it down too much and it's not gonna have enough in it to be able to, you know, do what it needs to do. And I have pen nibs, and I just want to be careful with how many I use. They are not cheap. They're like $10, but you get quite a few of them. You get like 40 of them, I think. So I'll have to order some of those. I just can't get them off of Amazon, which I'm kind of like about because when you buy it from the site itself, they don't charge tax, which means later on in tax season, I have to make sure to put that on my tax return. So for the state. So anyways, I'm not a tax legal advisor or anything like that, so I can't give you any, you know, tax advice, tips, or whatever. Don't listen to what I say at all because I'm just my own person. So, just straight up giving that warning, I am not somebody to listen to. Unless you feel like listening to me. Also, a couple things. I may be screaming into the mic. I have had some mic problems lately, and it's not doing too well. I don't know if it's because my microphone is really old. It should be in good condition, you know. Ooh, that looks cool. That looks really cool. Yeah, you see, this feels so much better. I don't even know what I'm making, but it looks cool. I also have a vector software that I have because let me tell you about like subscription prices and stuff of things. I ain't no way I am paying for Adobe. Okay? Adobe is to me it's it's okay, but the subscription services are outrageous. There's not enough good things about Adobe that I like that makes me want to pay the price of $50 a month or the individual price of like almost $30 a month. It's like I'd rather eat my eyeballs out, you know? I want something that I can have for free when it's art. When it comes to art, you know, or like I'm not completely against like okay, you buy a license for something, but it's your license, it never expires, and you're able to put it on as many computers as you want, you know, no issues with that. I don't have an issue paying up front with that. Like paying $100 for something, like I wouldn't mind doing that. Um, but it's the whole like they lull you into it. It's like they want you to have that monthly like subscription, you know? And it's like on top of all the subscriptions that people have nowadays, there's a lot of subscriptions, you know? There's too many subscriptions. Um so I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm doing here. I just we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be a happy little accident, you know? Maybe. Um what else? Um I guess I could update you guys on projects I'm working on. This is, you know, I love how like every time that I say that I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna be back, I'm gonna be back. I'm never back. I'm always like, I'm back for temporary purposes, and then I'm gone again for months and months and months, and then I'm finally back again, and the cycle just keeps going and going and going, and sometimes even years. Like I apologize, you know, and I can't even apologize because I've just been so busy with work, you know. Most of my day is spent doing work, you know, most of my time. So I don't have a whole lot of time to really have fun, you know, and to enjoy like life. I used to have so much time before I was working, and now I don't have any time, which is fine. I mean, I'm keeping myself busy by like, you know, being at work, being present at work, as present as possible could possibly ever be. Um, but I'm, you know, I'm trying to keep myself, you know, busy and stuff. And man, you know, I I I love my job. You know, I'll be honest, I love my job, but there are days where I think like if I just had a little bit more, sense in me, I would go and get my degree and really make a career for myself, you know? Like, do you ever think about that? I know there's probably nobody here, but you ever think that, like, there's a bigger purpose out there for you, and it's out there, it's something, but you don't exactly know what it is. So it's technically just a bunch of, you know, trying to figure out what your purpose is, and you know what advice to follow and what advice not to follow. And this is turning out really bad. I'm trying to salvage it to some degree, but I don't think I'm doing a good job with that. Oops. Undo. Oops. What did I just do? I did not do what I wanted to do. Oops. Oops. I am doing a bunch of stuff. Um, okay. Yeah, but it's all about trying to find your purpose and trying to like you think, oh, I don't have a purpose. Like, no, you do have a purpose. I know it may seem like you don't, because, oh, you may not think you have a purpose, and that's your way of thinking. It's like, oh, I must never have a purpose or anything like that. But it's like, my purpose is out there somewhere, you know and I'm not gonna say that it's not out there, because it's definitely there. um it's just not where I expect it to be. Like, right now, I feel like I am, um oops, I feel like I'm not doing a good job here. um but right now, I'm like trying to figure out, okay, so what is my goal in life, but like, I've come to realization that where I'm at currently is the best place that I could be at the moment, you know and that's a part of life as well, is just accepting that, yes, eventually you're going to want to be somewhere, like, better. You're going to want to be somewhere more interesting and stuff. But right now, you're needed in this area, right? You're needed in this spot. God wants you to be right here for now, until you got to give him time to get the next thing set up for you, and um and I think that's important to understand, is that there's not a whole lot of people that really like to entertain the idea of just wait, you know, just wait and see what's out there, what's around the horizon for you. Um, there's no fucking, oops, excuse my language. This is looking really bad, but again, I'm just testing it, so it's okay. Um, does that look good to you guys? I don't know why it's not letting me actually have like full control over it. That's weird. Oh, that's probably why. Oh. I'm good at blurring things, but I'm not good at anything else. Oops. I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. But yeah, there's always a purpose in life, and you know, it is what it is. And you're wondering like what the business will be. Now, I haven't told anybody really this besides people at work and stuff. Like I told a few people, um, but I'm nowhere near ready to start my own business. But if I was to get into a business, I'd get into the grocery store business. I feel like grocery store businesses are picking up more and more. Um, but right now, for now, I have a lot of stuff going on the side that I'm more interested in at the moment. And so, you know, I had to take care of that first before I go into the next thing. So, if I can get the video game going, get it really going, and then get it to be popular, which I want to just flat out say, and I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous live stream or not. I probably should have just watched it back. Um, I am against microtransactions. I believe that once you pay for a game, it's yours. However, I'm not against DLC. So if I was to do DLC for my game, um, I I would make sure that the content was worthwhile, that it was like a gigantic improvement to the game that expands upon the game. Because I feel like that's the thing about like video game companies that they forget about is that they have that at the forefront, basically. Um, and what I mean by that is they have like, say for example, there's a new game that comes out. They already have the bundles ready. They already have everything. Like, okay, we're gonna do this at this point. We're gonna do this at this point, and it's like, okay, well, you know, the content has to be there. Like for The Sims, okay, you'll notice that if you've been on my Twitter recently, um, I have been essentially just what's the word I want to look for? I want to say I have been talking about Inzoi. I reposted something about Inzoi. I like Inzoi. I actually got the game the first week and I enjoyed it so much. I have enjoyed it. I haven't played it a whole lot though, I'm gonna be honest. But what I think it improves upon compared to The Sims is that there's a shit ton of customization. However, I haven't gotten really into the gameplay yet, so I'm gonna do that at some point. The build mode I'm not a huge fan of. I always, it to me it's hard to be a successor to a video game that's popular because, you know, you have to try to do something different that's never been done before, you know? And normally it's like if this is a completely brand new game, I feel like, oh, okay, you could have an easy way of going about that. But because this is like already an established genre of content, that it's really hard to even think about doing that. You have to really think outside the box, which can be really difficult for people at times. So, and then people have to be open to the idea of do they want their favorite game to be zilch, basically? Do they want their favorite game to be gone, and to be forgotten about? And I said on Reddit, like, I was like, how City Skylines pretty much took over that genre of like city building games and stuff. Like it's probably not one of the best. I mean, it's probably not the best, but it's one of the best. And it was good enough to completely eradicate SimCity. And so now it's like, okay, you have this really great, healthy ecosystem of that type of game. And now you have this new stuff, basically, this new Inzoi and Paralyze. And I'll never get Paralyzed because I don't like the art style. art style is really hard to accomplish, and for them they chose that woke, icky, everybody looks like they have rosacea pretty much vibe, and like even the kids look kind of ugly on the game. I'm not a huge fan of what they've done. I mean, it's hard, I'm not gonna lie. I'm peeking, aren't I? It's hard to come up with like really good ideas that haven't already been done. So I'll give them credit. Like it wasn't an easy task, but at the same time, you know, you're not really letting it be an easy task. So, that's cool. But yeah, so I don't know what type of game I'm gonna get. Well, not what type of game people are gonna like. Or no, what was I saying? Oh, that's right. Um, this game is a Catholic game, and I am very excited to hopefully show it off to you at some point. Um, right now, I'm in the very early stages, like I said last time. That has not changed at all. It's a game that is pretty much having the slowest amount of movement at the moment. Um, but that's because like, what people don't understand is that a lot of the, like, early game stuff, like, you got to figure out. So you got to figure out your workflow, right? So like now I have this tablet, so texturing for the game is going to be so much easier just by having all of this. Like, it's pretty handy, no pun intended. Um, but then at the same time, it's like, you kind of have to really think about it, Like for me, what I'm stuck on right now is trying to find an art style. It's going to be with Unreal Engine, but I don't want to use their characters and stuff. That's why I want to, sculpt my own stuff. But hard part is, trying to find an art style that suits the needs of everybody. That ends up making things perfect. And it can be kind of difficult because there's there's not a whole lot of resources out there. I'm in the process of getting a mood board going. And I think I'm gonna do a bunch of mood boards first because I know what certain aspects of the game are going to be about, and I have an idea of when I want to release the game. But, you know, that takes time. I don't know the price. The price is going to be the hard part. To me, that's not something that's going to be easy, mainly because the price is pretty uh, crucial. Not many people are going to want to buy it if it's outrageously priced, you know? So that's something that I really got to think about when I go ahead and do that. I don't like the way that looks. Huh. That's not what I wanted to do. I think I'm gonna clear that because I don't want to. That's not good. Um. I hear a bird. I don't know what's up with the heavy machinery that just passed by, but you guys probably heard that, didn't you? Alright, I think I'm gonna call it.